Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Fala. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari. Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari. Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamunitira Vanatari. Jamuna Tira Vanatari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari. Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanatari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Boom. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariva Jagacharya Siddha Shisham is Divine Grace Divine Shadan Bhakti Vedanta Sai Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON BBD Founder Charge Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Kora Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Nam Char Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Shri Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki. Dhuradham Ki. Dwarkadham Ki. Navridham Ki. Jagannapuridham Ki. Jamuna Mai Ki. Ganga Mai Ki. Tulsi Maharani Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Samveda Bhakti Vinda Ki. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Say Radha Giridhari Ki. Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki. Go Premanandi. All glories to the Samma devotees. All glories to the Samma devotees. All glories to the Samma devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Hey, thanks for trying with that drum, but it's pretty flat, you know. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Sudamo Bhagate Dhammagana Divisaha Kalanasa Dashomesha Parano Konudo Dita Larana Namaskutchanaram Chaivam Narotama Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayat. The Bhagavatam is written as the sun. Thank you very much. Is originally just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision to the dense darkness, the age of Kali, should get light out of this Purana. Before beginning our study of the Srimad-Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should first offer our respects to the personality of God in Narayan, to the Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, the goddess of learning, Mother Saraswati, the author, Srila Vyasadeva, and my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So we are on... This is very nicely written, by the way. Doesn't it? It looks nice. Yeah, it looks first class. 4th canto, 24th chapter, text 75. We're just ending this section, this song sung by Lord Shiva. So, Shreyasam Iha Sarvesham Jnanam Nishreyasam Param Sukham Tarati Dushparam Jnana Nar Vyasanarnavam Shreyasam Iha Sarvesam Jnanam Ne Shreyasam Param Sukham Tarati Dushparam Jnana Vyasanarnavam Shreyasam Iha Sarvesam Jnanam Nishreyasam Param Sukham Tarati Dushparam Jnanam Navyasanarnavam Shreyasam Iha Sarvesam Jnanam Nishreyasam Param Sukham Tarati Dushparam Jnanam Navyasanarnavam. Jnanam Nishreyasam Param Sukham Tarati Dushparam Jnanam Navyasanarnavam Shreyasam Iha Sarvesham Jnanam nishaya samraham Sukham durate dushparam Jnanam naram Shayasam narisam Jnanam nishayasam param Sukham tarati dusparam Jnanam navisanam Shayasam. Of all benedictions, Iha, in this world, Sarvesam, of every person, Jnanam, knowledge, Nishreyasam, the supreme benefit, Param, transcendental, Sukham, happiness, Tarati, crosses over, Dushparam, insurmountable, Jnana, knowledge, now, boat. I'm wondering about nautical, if there's a connection there, but Vyasana, danger, Arnavam, the ocean. In this material world, there are two different types of achievements, but of all of them, the achievement of knowledge is considered to be the highest, because one can cross the ocean of nescience only on the boat of knowledge. Otherwise, the ocean is impassable. Also, you say, in this material world, there are different types of achievements, but of all of them, the achievement of knowledge is considered to be the highest, because one can cross the ocean of nescience only on the boat of knowledge. Otherwise, the ocean is impassable. Actually, everyone is suffering within the material world due to ignorance. Sorry. This is the Prabhupada's purport. Actually, everyone is suffering within the material world due to ignorance. Every day we see that a person without knowledge commits some criminal act and is later arrested or punished, despite the fact that he actually may not have been conscious of his sinful activities. Such ignorance prevails throughout the world. People do not consider how they are risking their lives in an attempt to have illicit sex, kill animals to satisfy the tongue, enjoy intoxication, and gamble. It is very regrettable that the leaders of the world do not know of the effects of these sinful activities. They are instead taking things very easily and are succeeding in making the ocean of nescience wider and wider. Opposed to such ignorance, full knowledge is the greatest achievement within the material world. We can practically see that one who has sufficient knowledge is saved from many dangerous pitfalls in life. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 7:19, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavamam prapadyante. One who actually is wise, becomes wise, he surrenders under the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva Savamiti Samahatma Sadurlabha. Such a great soul is very rarely to be found. This Krishna consciousness movement is determined to open wide the eyes of the so-called leaders who are full of ignorance, and thus save them from the many pitfalls and dangerous conditions of life. The greatest danger is the danger of getting a body lower than that of a human being. It was with great difficulty that we attained this human form of life, just to take advantage of this body and re-establish our relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda. Lord Shiva advises, however, that those who take advantage of his prayers will very soon become devotees of Lord Vasudeva, and thus will be able to cross the ocean of nescience and make life perfect. Om Gena Timrandasya Gyana Gena Salakaya Chakshu Shunmilitan Gena Tazare Shri Gurave Namaha. So the analogy, of course, is to cross over the ocean. You get people who can swim we can turn this up just a pinch. We get people who swim over the English Channel. I think people have sailed the Straits of Miami or whatever they call it. You can swim from the tip of Florida to whatever it is, to Cuba. But to cross over this material ocean, it is of birth and death, is insurmountable. And we're going to get into that in a second. Prabhupada compares it, if we try to cross the ocean, but we've got so many things that can help us. We've got, material knowledge, I've got my money, I've got my fame, I've got my family, I've got so many things. I've got great philosophers. I can cross over the ocean of nescience. It's compared to trying to swim across the ocean. So I've got some help. So I take the help by grabbing onto the tail of a dog, and the little dog is dog paddling. How far will I actually get? Not too far. You can try it if you like. So, therefore, what to do? And Vaisheshika Prabhu tells the story that he was, I forget the devotee's name, his friend Satya something in Japan. He was helping him man the booth at the LA Ratha Yatra. And as, thousands of people are pouring through at the book table, someone asked, and it's a natural question, what does Hare Krishna mean? So they asked his friend, Sarva Satya, I think is his name, what does Hare Krishna mean? And, we have our different explanations. But Prabhupada said, it's like a jewel. You can turn it and it catches the facets in a different light. So Vaishya told me he was interested to see how his friend would answer, what does Hare Krishna mean? And his friend said it means, I need help. That's an honest admission of our actual condition. And we'll get into it in a second, but just for fun, because it was mentioned, was it Bala? Who was mentioning that yesterday in class? That this world is Martya Loka. It is a dangerous place. But we're completely lulled into it. Everything, when I was a kid, we had a little, what do they call it, a nursery rhyme? Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream. Everything's, it's all going to work out great. But actually, we're in a very, very precarious, dangerous position. And it's not all going to work out. They asked Prabhupada, why is the death rate so high in India? Why have you come here? What can you teach us? Death rate so high in India? That's especially Prabhupada was talking 1970s. What was Prabhupada's famous answer? Anyone know? Death rate's the same everywhere. 100%. I remember when I first met one of the Brahmanas, I do want to get to something else, but anyway, I don't want to say it about me. But anyway, sufficient to say I was an illusion, thinking I was in a great situation. And the devotees told me this life is full of, misery and struggle. I said, well, maybe for you. I said, I'm having a great time, If I just stay on the conveyor belt, everything's going to just be rosy. And the devotee Sukadev said to me, Sukadev was his name, said to me, one thing, though, as I was about to leave, and I said, oh, what's that? He said, nobody gets out of here alive. And it just rattled around in my head. I was already thinking about these things to some degree. I was bluffing a little bit when I was talking to him. But it's a fact. Nobody gets out alive. I mean, there it is, dust to dust, ashes to ashes. Or the famous skull in the Vatican, when you go into their museum of art, the Vatican Museum, the first thing you see is a skull. And under the skull, human skull, it says, how does it go? You are what I once was. I am what you will become. Pretty far out. You got this thing looking at you, and it's saying, I am what you once were, and you are what I will be. Whatever, you got the right idea. So we were talking yesterday. I think Balaram was making the point, just to get out of the womb without being aborted. But you were talking about the sea turtles. Was that you were talking about the sea turtles? And the little sea turtle, they lay there. The mother lays the eggs on the sand, buries them in the sand, and then goes away. I think the heat of the sun and whatever the combination, the thing hatches. Many of them don't hatch. People poach those, turtle eggs. They, different animals dig them up and eat them. So you may not even hatch. If you hatch, then it's a very harrowing journey to make it across the beach to get to the water. Crabs eat them. Birds swoop down and grab them. So many things. And then once you're in the water, I think you said Balaram, it's a whole new set of enemies. You got to deal with sharks, other fish, so many different things. And I think Jamal, and I confirmed it, Googled it. What is it? The National Office of Oceanography, whatever their name is. NOSHA, whatever. I forget what their name is. Maybe you know, but anyway, the odds of that sea turtle making it alive are between 1 and 1,000 to 1 and 10,000. That's the odds of making it. Just into the water. Yeah, just to make it in the water. Just to make it into the water. So, that's a sea turtle, and, we're different than that. But Vijay tipped me to this yesterday. So I did a Google search on it. Okay, fine. Those are turtles. But do you know that 700 people worldwide, 300 in America alone, per year, die making toast? Gives new meaning to the word toasted. Yeah, I guess the toast gets stuck in the toaster. They try to fish it out with a fork or But 300 to people, 700 worldwide, but 300 per year. That's the average. Okay, well, that's interesting. You know that over 100 people die in the bathtub every year? Die in the bathtub. This is a real mind blower. And I couldn't believe it. Vijay told me this. I couldn't believe it. I checked it. Over 450 people in the United States alone die falling out of the bed. Just getting out of bed. So, I mean, if you don't die falling out of your bed, and you don't die in the bathtub, and you survive the toast, I mean, that's before you even get out the door, It is a dangerous world. It is. I mean, it's bizarre. Here's another one. I could go on all day long. I love these things. Over 51 people, on an average, in America, die getting hit by lightning. I mean, what are the odds of that? But, people fall in manholes. That's another. I didn't get the number. Because I said, I got to get back to work. But how many people die just falling in a manhole? The cover's off. Zip. Well, you didn't think that was going to happen. You're row your boat gently down. Zip, fall in a manhole. That's it for you. So I've got another section. We're going to talk about that later on. But one of the first steps in God realization in the Bhagavatam, the first step, remember our premise was, what does Hare Krishna mean? I need help. That's one of the meanings. And is that for, opiates, the religion of the people, the opiate of the people, if you're afraid of death, it gets you through night. If you're not man enough to stand up to the facts of, Kamu, the only question is how to die, no. It's not for weak-willed people. It's common sense. First step of God realization. Anyone know by meditating on the Varata Rupa, the universal form, and they do it. They're looking, they're seeing the stars, the moon, everything rising. It's human nature. You read about the Amazon, whether you're, a primitive or an Adivasi or, living in the forest or whatever. Just people go out. I don't go to church, but my church is nature. Okay, fine. When they go out and study the material nature and watch the whole thing operating. Earth Day. This is a big hint. What is one of the names for the earth? What do they say? Blank earth. Mother Earth. Because there's a sense of dependency that this material nature is nurturing me, is sustaining me. I've mentioned it, and I'll mention it again. There was an American Indian tribe. They're up by Carpinteria. I forget the name. But one of the priests, his job, because you can imagine, we're being sustained by the sun. The sun is, the heat, the crops, everything. You need the sun. It's pretty much an essential element. So the sun would rise. Now you're living on the coast. It comes over those Sandy Inez Mountains or whatever they're called. The sun comes up and over. And then where does the sun set? Sets in the ocean. What happens if I take something hot and I put it in the ocean? I put it in water. What happens? It goes out. It goes out. So you can imagine every day the sun comes up and, oh gosh, there it goes in the ocean. It's going to go out. And of course, everything becomes dark. So it must have been extinguished when So they had a priest. Talk about job security. They had a priest. His job was to stay up all night long and perform jagas and prayers that the sun would come back. And just see his potency, because the sun comes back every day. So, but that sense of dependency, the sense... And if there's a sense of dependency, it can be a servile, fearful position. But more than that, Mother Earth, what develops? One realizes, first off, hey, wait a minute, I'm not running the show here. I am dependent at every moment. I mean, we've gone down this road before. Deep sea divers, free diving. How anyone know? Somebody could Google this for us later on. How long by deep sea? Free diving, they call it, by diving with your own breath. I think it's like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Hey, let's be generous. 6 minutes. So we can't, how long without breath, without air, you can't go more than 6 minutes. So from that, because I want to move on to something else, from that sense of dependency comes a sense of gratitude. Weiss calls it the attitude of gratitude. One develops a sense of gratitude. And from that sense of gratitude, what the different rasas, there's Shanta ras, which is neutrality. It's an appreciation of the opulence and of the absolute. But what is the next step? I don't want to say too more. What is the next ras after neutrality? Dasya ras. It becomes a sense of service, of activity. So from dependency comes gratitude, comes service. So without that knowledge, how will you cross over this ocean of birth and death? And Prabhupada talks about achievements, that the only real achievement is to develop this transcendental knowledge. You can achieve so many things. Guinness's Book of World Records. I used to read that when I was a kid. Anyone ever check out? People do so many things. The guy who ate the bicycle, ground up a bicycle. Some guy in Japan. That's his big claim to fame. It's a true story. Ground up a bicycle. He ate a bicycle. Oh my God, how do you eat a bicycle? Well, he ground it up, tires, everything, and every day had a spoonful. And I don't know how long it took him. But eventually, he ate a bicycle. I mean, there's all kinds. There's a guy who pulls I mentioned before, pulls a locomotion, the engine of a train. He can pull it with his teeth. I think it's just one card. Okay, but come on, man. And it takes him a while to get it going, but once you get a little inertia, that what is it? Things set in the law of motion continue to act until continue to move until acted on by outside force. So once you get the thing going, I mean, there's all kinds of the number of hula hoops. I mean, there's all kinds of people have all kinds of achievements. Oh well, come on, But you can go all the way to a Nobel Peace Prize. You can go all the way to I think is it that Linus Pauling was his name who got 2? He got one for chemistry, and he got the other one for Peace Prize. Hey, 2 Nobel Peace Prizes? That's pretty... I mean, Nobel, prizes? That's pretty far out, President of the United States. But what happens? How long does it last? Who will remember? There's... how many presidents... When I was a kid, you had to memorize the presidents. And I was lucky. I think there were 28 or 31 at that point. How many? The 41st? What president are we up to? 46? So there it is. Hey, quibble with me. So how many presidents can you remember? Anyone remember? Was it Milton Fillmore? What is that his name? Fillmore? Was that his name? I mean, do you remember him? I mean, at the time, he was like at the top of the pyramid. So... what are these achievements? Prabhupada says, because I'm thinking of the time factor, there's the famous, it's Prabhupada's story, and I'll tell it again because we've got some guests. A man is blind, poverty-stricken, and no children. 3 problems. Blind, poverty-stricken, no children. And he's given 1 wish. And for you Einsteins out there, no, he can't wish for unlimited wishes. Okay? Stay within the parameters of the thought exercise. 3 wishes. What do you wish for? He only has one wish and 3 problems. Yes, Dravida Prabhu. He wishes to see his children from the roof of his palace. 1 wish hit all 3. So Prabhupada says if one actually becomes, as he talks here, the transcendental knowledge, if one understands, I'll give an example. If one understands spiritual knowledge, that's the only real achievement that matters. And I'm fast forwarding because of the time factor. Prabhupada gives the example, and we've all, I don't have time for too many examples, but if you see a coiled rope in a dark room, especially you're in India or South America, Africa, whoo, it's a snake. You're scared witless. But you click on the light, it's just a coiled rope. So that which caused fear when you thought, by knowledge, it becomes completely removed. There's no fear at all. So knowledge actually removes fear. Not your attempts to, did you run and get a stick or a sword or, incantation, you got one of those, Navaratri stones that's going to protect you. No, knowledge. And I don't want to bring it too personal, but look at Jamunapati Prabhu, Parashakti, what to speak of Shamali, Bhismadev, all out of nowhere. Because I was just talking to them yesterday. Out of nowhere, within 6 months she got cancer, and she has a few weeks left, few months, a month, few weeks left. She is preaching to her father. Father is preaching to Bhishma. Bhishma is preaching to everybody's. This is Krishna's arrangement, and she said to me, "I've never been so Krishna conscious. I don't think I would have been so focused if this hadn't happened." I mean, imagine such a thing. I was talking on the phone, 100 disciples of Bhakti Charamash. You lose your spiritual master? You lose someone loses their father or mother at a young age? That is a really tough thing. To lose your spiritual master, you've been initiated 3 or 4 years in your spirit. That's a tough spot to be in. But we were asking them, after we got through talking questions and answers, so many nice realizations by knowledge. What is the key thing? Have I lost my spiritual master? I can speak from my personal experience. I got initiated in 1971, first met Prabhupada in 1969, got initiated in 71. Prabhupada passed away in 77, so you do the math. I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years, depending on how you measure. Now it's 50 years later. Prabhupada is more present. Prabhupada is more real. He is more active in my life than ever before. And Dravida Prabhu, we can all say the same thing. Any disciple who's genuinely trying to follow and serve, they're closer than they ever were. Like Prabhupada says, I read the other day at the end of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that, I know my spiritual man. I finished Chaitanya Charitamrita. I know that he's smiling. I know that he's pleased. I know it was by his mercy I was able to do this. So by knowledge, seeing by knowledge, it says that, and, political correctness, please forgive me, I'm quoting Chanakya Pandit, what is a child's weapon? Children do so many foolish things. They're running through the house playing, bump into the table, knock over the Chinese Ming vase, $3,000 down the drain, if not more. Children do foolish things. My father used to call my brother and I fool number 1 and fool number 2. Because my brother had so many stupid ideas. Oh, let's fly. It's a true story. Let's fly. And it's a long story, but we had a carport, 1-story garage. It was flat. So we thought, we'll just get a cape and run fast enough. Stick your arms out. That's what Superman does. My brother didn't do it. He's 4 years older than me. But I was the test pilot. We got ourselves a long sheet. Run as fast as you can. Stuck both arms out. I was quickly introduced to the principle of gravity. It didn't work. I broke both arms. True story. I could go on. So children do so many stupid things, and it's irritating. It's irksome. Once you get over the initial fear, that, oh my God, the kid didn't kill himself. So what is a child's protection? Child's protection. You're next. But a child's protection is innocent. A child does something foolish. Oh, he's a kid, even in law, isn't it? If you're under a certain age, there's a different set of rules. If you're under 18, you're judged as a minor. That's foolish. Okay, so a child's weapon is innocence. A woman's weapon, which I can tell you as a temple president, they use very effectively. What is a woman's weapons? Tears. Shyness is also good, but tears. And they use them very effectively. Now, what is an old person's weapon? To be generic and not, gender specific. An old person's weapon. If I cry, people are think, it's not going to really win much sympathy, and the old guy's lost his mind, I can't claim innocence, Dementia. Prabhupada says knowledge. In this material world, an old person's weapon. So there it is. Why is knowledge in the Bhagavatam and in the Gita, why is knowledge compared to a sword? What do we use a sword for? A machete. Let me make it even clear. Cuts the path, clears the path, cuts through the hard knot of illusion. So either a machete or a sword, knowledge is compared to sword. Why is knowledge compared to a boat? Well, here it is, right here. Why is it compared to a boat? Cross over the ocean. Why is knowledge compared to shoes? Good for beating one in the head? Well, that's okay, but there's another one. If I try to walk barefoot, how far can I walk on a path? Prabhupada's analogy. It's a fantastic analogy. Also there in the Bhagavatam. There will be so many problems. The Italians have a saying, there's always a rock in the shoe. If you try to walk, there's a rock in your shoe. There's always something in this material world. Adi Bautik, Adi Devik, Adi Atmak. There's always something. So if you try to walk on a path, there's always going to be sticks. If you try to walk barefoot, you put on shoes, no problem. So here it's saying that the only achievement really, when Jesus says, I am the only way, it means if you follow his instructions, there's no other set of instructions that are going to work. It's the only, if I tell you this is the only key to that door, or listen, the only way you're going to get to Los Angeles is go north. Well, on one hand, the globe is round, so you could go south if you were very patient. In due course, But it's the only way that works. So here it's talking about the only achievement is knowledge, because that solves all the problems. And I think, because of the time factor, just for fun, because it talks about we have a society that's just digging a bigger hole. Our so-called advancement, what's it doing? It's just making it worse. It's just digging a bigger hole. And here's just one example, because I had a few minutes. I was waiting for a phone call. So, do you know that the average American eats 7 animals in the course of a lifetime? Now the ratio changes. I got the ratio worldwide, 7 animals. But check this out. Oh, I'm sorry, 7,000. Yeah, 7. Well, what's that, man? So 7,000 animals. And here's how they got a breakdown. And I'm sure the ratio changes. I think it's probably higher in America. The ratio shifts. But 11 cows. Now, just as a sidelight, it says in the Padma Purana that if you kill a cow, you have to take birth for every hair on that cow. And don't believe me, Dairyman's magazine had an advertisement
for an antiseptic scrub for, because every now and then you have to scrub down the cows, ticks, cuts, there's so many. And it said the average cow has over 2,000 hairs per square inch. So anybody got some free time? Figure out the circumference of a cow, figure out the square inches, multiply by 2,000, and that's how many births for one cow. So the average American eats 11 cows, 27 pigs, 2,400 chickens, 80 turkeys, 30 sheep, and 4.5 fish. 4,500 fish. I think this is a world average. They might, I think, probably less fish and more cows. But just imagine, a mouth is just a crematorium. It's a graveyard. What's going in there? And that's just one of the sinful activities. So they're just accelerating the pace. So-called advancement. I was in Prabhupada's room. It was fantastic. A man kept saying, "Oh, we're advancing. Oh, we're making so much advancement. Oh, And Prabhupada tended to let people run on for a little bit, So the man said it 4 or 5 times, advancement. And Prabhupada said, finally cut him off. And Prabhupada said, your advancement is like that. Prabhupada said, you're advancing, but in what direction? I can advance in the wrong direction. Is that a glorious thing? Prabhupada said, your advancement is like the moth into the flames. Far out analogy, isn't it? Sure, you're moving forward, but into what? So this is knowledge, real knowledge. And I wanted to end, there was a joke I heard last night from Akandadi Prabhu told it. So I'll give Prabhupada's analogy and then I'll tell the joke and then we'll finish. Evidently there's and I did a Google search on it. They call it alum. Alum? It's a chemical element. It's used for... Alum, yeah. I'm not saying it, but you got the idea. Is it related to aluminum? Who knows? Is it? Okay. So, evidently, amongst its many other things you can use it for, suppose you have a bucket of water that's all muddy, you can throw this in it, and it's in the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada gives an example. And the silt will settle to the bottom, and the water will become clear. So muddy water, by the addition of this element, it settles and it becomes clear. Silt is still there at the bottom, but you can see. Similarly, this world, people are confused. Where to go, what's right, what's true, what's good. Everybody's got an opinion. Fighting over so many different... But if you throw in truth of spiritual knowledge, all the murk, all the misconceptions settle to the bottom and you can see clearly what is truth. And the only real thing is to get out of this world, go back home, back to Godhead. About the Song of Lord Shiva, just quickly. Well, does this mean that we should go to Naimisharanya and sit, give up ISKCON, give up chanting Hare Krishna, and what we really need to do is sit under a bush or somewhere and chant the songs of Lord Shiva? Rather, what is the Hare Krishna mantra called amongst mantras? What is it compared to? Maha Mantra. It is the essence of all mantras. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, we are also chanting the song of Lord Shiva. It all becomes accomplished. In the same way Prabhupada said, touch your nose. You know this example? Okay, Mukunda, touch your nose. Yeah, exactly. You just touch your nose like this, But we're trying to, we complicate everything. With the perfection, the same result. We're not going to be able to follow all of these austerities. We don't live long enough. We don't have the right atmosphere. I remember going hiking one time. I wanted to do some quiet meditation before I became a devotee. And I drove all the way in the high Sierras. I drove as far as I could on a logging road. I was with some friends. Then 2 or 3. Which automatically yoga's off there. You should do it by yourself. We walked as far as we could to the end of a trail. Out in the middle of nowhere, sat down to practice our meditation. We weren't there 2 minutes. I swear to you. And a plane went by dragging a banner that said, drink Coca-Cola. Well, this isn't working, We wasted a whole day here, So, if we simply follow the process, what was achieved by this chanting the song of Lord Shiva, if we just follow the ISKCON structure that Prabhupada has given us, the sadhana that Prabhupada has given us, we just follow that, we sincerely chant the Hare Krishna mantra, all the results will be achieved. Okay, that which is obvious if one has transcendental knowledge, they can't see it. They see everything else but the truth, the essential thing that's right in front of them. So here's the joke that Akandadi told. He's putting out a series called Atma Paradigm. It's just fantastic talks on science and the Vedic view of things. I got him now. I'm going to give you a copy. So here's the joke, and we'll end here. And the context is to see everything but miss the essential thing. Okay? The Sherlock Holmes and Watson go camping. And they go out in the mountains, and it's late at night. Finally, they put their tent up. They roll out their bedrolls. They go to sleep. All of a sudden, some time passes, and Sherlock Holmes wakes up Watson. Watson opens his eyes, and Sherlock says, "What do you see? What do you see?" So Watson says, "Well, I see all the stars in the sky. It's very beautiful." Sherlock says, No. What else do you see?" He says, "Well, I can see by where the constellations are. It's probably around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning." "What else do you see?" Watson says, "Well, the fact that I can see the stars means it's going to be good weather. We're going to have a great day hiking tomorrow." Sherlock says, No. What else do you see?" So Watson says, "Well, I see my place in the universe. I'm small. The universe is great. Sherlock Holmes says, "No. What you don't see, what you're missing, is you don't see our tent. You fall if you're sleeping, the tent's gone. If you're lying on your back and you look up and you can see all the stars, what the hell happened to the tent? That's the main thing you missed." So they see everything, but they don't see the essential thing. We can end there. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.